Hello. How's it going? How's it going, everyone? Okay, great. So my name is Divyansh Saini. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO at this company called Houseware. We won the Snowflake Startup Challenge in 2022, and here is a data superhero talking a little bit about agents. Now, there's not a lot of stuff which has happened about agents in the conference so far. So what this is going to be is a very high-level overview of what agents are and why we think that that's going to be the next level of evolution for enterprise software. So agents are the new software. Now, Andreessen Horowitz is a very famous Valley-based VC firm that talked about software is eating the world. This was probably more than a decade ago. Now we think that agents are going to be eating software. And if you think about agents at a very high level, these are essentially mimicking human behavior as a knowledge worker, someone like yourself and myself. The kind of things that we do on a daily basis is happening in the scene, behind the scenes. Think of it as an LLM on a for loop, always running for you. So the four critical aspects of an agent that typically are talked about are memory. What can you remember as a person who is a knowledge worker? So when you start your day, you already know what your organization is up to because you have that memory in you. The tools that you have access to. Now, a lot of us use Microsoft Teams, Slack, email, Zoom to interact with our coworkers. An agent also has similar tools like calendar, calculator that it has access to and can call on demand. The actions that we take on these tools, and finally, the planning that we do. So when you get your morning coffee, you're figuring out how your day or your week's going to look like. The agent is able to do that. It's able to reflect. It's able to figure out how it can critique itself and the steps that it's taking for you, and then reinvent that on, again, a for loop for you. Now, we obviously heard on the platform keynote yesterday and the builder keynote today about Cortex AI, which is obviously a new service that Snowflake has been tinkering around with for the last year or so. At Houseware, our team started to work with Snowflake Cortex AI very early on. And fundamentally, the two challenges that we face as an engineering team to build agents is what we have tried to solve for developers en masse so that people do not have to face the same challenges again. And those two challenges are, one is very behavioral in nature, because if you think about it, we always think about data engineers, front-end engineers, back-end engineers. Now, every engineer has to reinvent themselves as an AI engineer and think about what does an agent do and how do you really reinvent the front-end interface, for example, for an agentic behavior. The second challenge is building these agents, deploying them, monetizing them for the right kind of usage. And that's where things get tricky because you're dealing with not just a prompt and a model, just like in ChatGPT, which is a very primitive kind of an agent, but you're also trying to tell the agent to think in a certain way, in certain steps, and then reflect on it, human input coming in, and a lot of other things happening, right? So that's where things get tricky because you're combining unstructured, structured data with a model that you're fine-tuned or you're using off the shelf. So we built this end-to-end developer toolkit for ourselves natively on Snowflake. This is going to be released very soon for everyone to be utilizing. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk about each of these things. What I'm going to do is do a very quick blazing demo because this is a lightning talk. So you're going to have to keep up with me on this one. And let's see if we can get this running. All right. So what you're seeing right now on the screen is all the agents that are available in the Houseware user interface. So you see that there's a sales agent, so I'm going to click on that. The sales agent essentially is an agent which fetches information from your sales data and pushes it on a real-time basis whenever the new information surfaces onto your Slack. So let's see how we can build this agent. The first interface that you see here is to give some base instructions. So just like when we are getting a new task or a new project, someone in our team is probably going to brief us about what this project is going to look like. Similarly, we fine-tune this agent to be knowing and thinking about certain kind of tasks and instructions that we want to be giving it. The next step is the tools that it has access to. So Houseware has pre-built some of these tools so that developers don't really have to do this all over again. And some of these tools are fairly basic that come into every action that an agent is going to be doing. Something as simple as browsing a web interface, accessing a table on Snowflake, sending a Slack message. So I'm going to select some of these tools that are available. I just selected query table, and I can see the sales data, which is available on Snowflake for me. So you see it says product ID, product names, which seems like these are iPhones, which region was it sold in, what's the sales amount, and things like those. I'm going to click next and also select the tool, which is send Slack message. That's what we intend to do here. What we can do next is we can also figure out the plan for this agent, how this agent should be thinking. I'm going to skip this in the interest of time, but you can basically define what should be the parameters in which agent should be thinking, and add the vector files or the embeddings that you have access to as well. Finally, I'm going to go to the playground, and this is an interface I think that almost everyone is familiar with, even my grandfather. So what we can do is we can essentially type in a prompt, which is give me an overview of the sales data and send it to Slack. So we're going to run it. And as I said in the very beginning, an agent is basically an LLM on a for loop. It has started to think about the process that we are looking to invoke, which is essentially querying the run tool, querying the table that we selected on Snowflake, run the Slack message tool, and then finally what you see in the end is a Slack message popping up into my Slack interface, and I can see all the data about iPhone sales, which are summarized in a certain way that I wanted it to do as per the base instructions. So that's all from me today, and I hope this gave you a very high-level overview about what agents can do. And I'm going to ask one question before I end. How many of you have heard of Andrew Yang from the machine learning, deep learning courses? Okay, a lot of people, and he has a very soothing voice as well, so I love listening to him. So tomorrow, he is going to be speaking at noon with the Snowflake CEO, Sridhar Ramaswamy, talking about agentic behaviors, and I'm sure his talk is going to be a lot longer and a lot deeper, so I would encourage all of you to attend that. And if you have any questions, our team at Houseware is also in the audience. I would love to take your questions. Also, all the data superheroes will be with you shortly, so looking forward to interact with all of you. Thank you so much.
Cool.